The wind shrieked across the grey waves as the longship cut through the churning sea, its dragon-headed prow snarling toward the jagged coast of Britannia like a beast eager for prey. Erik the Ruthless stood at the prow, arms crossed over his chest, blue eyes narrowing at the land ahead. The salt spray soaked his braided beard and tangled his hair, but he stood unflinching, as always. 20 winters he had raided Saxon, Frank, and Irish shores. His name carried weight like a sharpened axe. But this village was different. Raven Hollow, a forgotten settlement clinging to cliffs, hidden among rocks and dark woods. The elders back home whispered of it, silver hidden in its harbours, merchants too fearful to pass larger ports. But they also spoke of ships vanishing. Villagers turned to stone, a curse older than the Saxons. Erik spat into the sea. Curses are for frightened old women. Behind him, his warriors murmured nervously. Bjorn One Eye leaned closer, his single eye squinting toward the cliffs. No crews returned from Raven Hollow. Then their silver still waits for us, Erik replied. The oarsmen rowed in silence as the ship approached the shore. Clouds thickened above, turning the sky to slate. Jagged cliffs loomed like teeth. The dark water whispered of forgotten things beneath the waves. The village appeared suddenly around a bend. It was small, a cluster of wooden huts huddled near the shore, as though hiding from the wind. A crooked church with a sagging steeple crowned the village like a vulture on a carcass. No smoke from chimneys, no voices, no dogs barking. The oars fell still. Only the creaking of the longship and the distant cries of circling crows. The warriors exchanged uneasy glances. "Perfect," Erik declared. They ran before us. The ship grounded with a scraping hiss. Erik led the way, boots crunching on damp pebbles, axe slung across his back. His men followed, wary, eyes scanning the silent streets. The village was eerie. Doors swung open, meals rotted on tables. Livestock wandered the muddy paths, thin and wild-eyed. But there were no people, only statues, dozens of them. At first, Erik thought them carvings, crude stone villagers frozen in place, some reaching toward the sky, others clutching children, mouths twisted in silent screams. But as they drew closer, dread settled over them. These weren't carvings. The detail was perfect. Folds of clothing, curls of hair, faces frozen in raw terror. These were people, whispered Sten the Red, white-knuckled on his axe. A heavy silence fell. More statues lined the streets, in doorways, fields, even on rooftops. Men, women, children, petrified in an instant. Some Christian curse, muttered Bjorn. Erik clenched his jaw, forcing down the dread gnawing at his gut. "The silver's still here," he growled. "If a priest did this, I'll hang his head from the mast." The homes were abandoned, food spoiled, tools rusted. Yet untouched, in the village square, stood the wooden church. Its timbers darkened with age, the cross on its steeple crooked. The heavy doors hung ajar, revealing a dim interior. But the claw marks gouged into the wood were impossible to miss. Deep, jagged, unnatural. Erik's hand went to his axe. "Whatever did this," Bjorn began, his voice faltering. "Still waits," Erik finished. Inside the church, the air was heavy, thick with damp rot and something fouler, a reptilian musk that clung to the nostrils. The altar stood bare, save for a shattered crucifix. Along the walls, faded tapestries depicted saints locked in battle with serpentine creatures. Behind the altar, a trap-door lay open, gaping like a black mouth in the floorboards. A faint hissing sound drifted upward. Erik drew his axe. "With me." The descent was slow, the stairs creaking beneath their boots as they entered the crypt beneath the church. The walls were damp with condensation, the floor littered with fragments of bone, human and animal alike. Crude carvings of twisted beasts decorated the stone. In the corner, the tunnel yawned rough-hewn into the earth, vanishing into blackness. The hissing grew louder. A scraping sound echoed down the tunnel scales against stone, claws clicking on damp rock. Then it emerged. A basilisk. The creature was enormous, its serpentine body coiled upon waiting to strike. Dark, iridescent scales shimmered with a sickly green sheen. Its limbs, clawed and powerful, flexed with predatory grace. A crown of jagged horns adorned its skull. And its eyes blazed golden, slitted and ancient, radiating a malevolence that turned the air to ice. The legends had spoken of such a beast, born of serpent and rooster, cursed by the gods. Its gaze turned flesh to stone. Its venom rotted wood and bone. Its breath could fell a man in seconds. "Don't meet its eyes!" Erik barked, but the warning came too late. Two of his men locked gazes with the beast. Their screams were cut short as their skin greyed. Their limbs stiffened and their bodies calcified, transformed in seconds into statues, frozen mid-terror. The crypt exploded into chaos. Axes swung wildly. Spears jabbed into the gloom. Some men scrambled for the stairs, only to be struck down by the creature's venomous bite or petrifying gaze. Sten lunged at the beast, only for its tail to whip around, smashing him into the crypt wall with bone-crunching force. His body twisted grotesquely, limbs turning to stone before he even hit the ground. Bjorn swung his axe, the blade clanging off the creature's armored hide like steel against rock. The basilisk lunged, jaws snapping, its golden eyes locking onto him. In a heartbeat, Bjorn froze, his flesh greying, his defiant expression etched forever in stone. Erik roared, his axe cleaving down, but the creature twisted aside. Its tongue flickered, its eyes burning with cruel intelligence. The petrified remains of his crew littered the crypt, their expressions frozen in terror and disbelief. The basilisk's gaze found Erik. For the first time in his life, Erik the Ruthless felt fear. His limbs grew heavy. His vision blurred at the edges. His skin hardened, roughening into cold, unyielding stone. He fought to raise his axe, to curse the gods, but the words died on his tongue, his body locking mid-stride. Moments later, all was silent. The basilisk slithered among the statues, a macabre gallery of warriors, frozen in their final moments and coiled contentedly amidst its lair. Above, the village of Raven Hollow stood still. The crows cawed, circling overhead. The longship drifted away on the tide, abandoned, and beneath the church, the basilisk waited, eternal, patient. Another story whispered along the coasts, a warning carried by sailors and traders. Raven Hollow is cursed, a place of stone and death, a place where even the fiercest Viking becomes part of the legend, cold, lifeless, and eternal.